Hi, my name is Sam Madison from American Institutes for Research, and welcome to a brief demonstration on how to use the Atlas Implementation Reporting website. Many of you have been using this site already, and some of you may be using it for the first time. This brief demo will walk through the entire process, but I will highlight the areas where updates and changes have been made recently. The first step is to get to the correct website. So the URL for the website is atlas, that is ATLAS, .airprojects.org. Make sure to bookmark or add this website to your favorites. In order to log in, you would have received an automated email from me, Sam Matheson, with your login credentials. If you happen to lose that email or you forgot your password, we have now updated the website to have a forgot password function. Just enter your professional email address associated with Atlas, and a newly generated password will be sent to you. You will be prompted to choose a new password upon resetting it. So let's go ahead and log in. I've logged in on this next tab in order to show you as an example. So the first page you will see after logging in is the summary page for your institution. Okay. Here you can view all forms that have been submitted from all members of your institution. As an example, I've signed in under the Jackson-Madison district, and I can see all these other, these are example forms that have been submitted under our test website here. Okay, so one new feature is this label column that you can see here. This is for your own use, for which you can use to identify your form. Some of these are tests, but as you can see here, this might be used to label your February demo, February Atlas use. Those are things we're expecting the label to be called. Okay, so we're going to go back up to the top and say we want to create or write down a new form submission. We're going to go ahead and click Add Form. Okay, so the first question we see here, on what date did this use of Atlas begin? Okay, we'll go ahead and click the box and we'll say, for example, it started on February 1st. On what date did this use of Atlas end? We'll go ahead and say it ended last Friday, February 19th, 2016. And here's your chance to enter a short label for this entry. We'll go ahead and call it Feb Atlas Session, so we're not redundant with some of the other forms we added. Okay, so now we have a choice of for whom we are designated this form to be associated with. You can either select individual teachers' names from a list, which can happen by selecting individual teachers, and this displays all the teacher names associated with Jackson-Madison. Or we can select by group, okay, which may be the school for which an early career teacher is currently working, or if they are a pre-service teacher at an IEG, this is the course for which Atlas is being used in their pre-service training. Okay, since we're in LEA, we're going to go ahead and select the group at East Elementary. Okay. The next question is, how many times or separate instances did you interact with the average teacher in this group during this time period? And this includes any substantive, in-person, email, virtual interaction, or other communication. You know, for example, if you had an in-class interaction and then you also received an email interaction from students, you might put in a 2 here. So let's do that. 2. It very might well be 3, 4, or 5, depending on how you are implementing Atlas. Okay, here's a quick reminder that these sections appearing in blue are reminders of the Atlas parameters. So this first one says, when using Atlas, the work of improving the practice of novice teachers must be aligned with the district's expectation for teachers' performance, which means that an indicator component on an evaluation rubric or performance data must be aligned with Atlas use. So we're going to go ahead and select the alignment here. This is the evaluation rubric or the performance rubric. So since we're in Jackson-Madison, they use the TEAM or the TEAM rubric. So we'll select that. Your own district or IHE will autofill the rubric that you've selected or framework. Okay, so for an example on our form, we're going to say the alignment here was with teacher content knowledge and activities and materials. You can select one or multiple components here. The next question reminds us of the parameters of Atlas case and MCA cycle use. This is different for both LEA and IHE. So as a reminder, these are the parameters for the LEA case and cycle use. We're looking for 6 unique cases, 8 number of occasions, 4 of which are follow-up, no more than a month between interactions in terms of a time lapse, and a total of 4 MCAF cycles. Okay, but the real question here is, which cases were used? Was the video component used? And was commentary also used? In order to answer that question, we need to click the Add a Case button, which will take us to a new page. Okay, here we have the opportunity to add a case number. And if you remember earlier, we selected East Elementary as the group. And those names associated with East Elementary have populated here. So we have Carly Dotson and Mark Malone. Both are 2 teachers at East Elementary. But let's say each of these 2 teachers, they used a different case number, okay? So let's say Carly used case number 318. We can enter 318 here, but we only want to make sure that applies to her. So we don't want to select all, and we just want to select Carly. Okay, Carly also used the video, and she used the commentary, okay? Case number 318, yes, yes, applies to Carly, and we can go ahead and add that. Okay, but that's just one of the 2 teachers at East Elementary for which this form is being applied to. If we scroll back down, we could see that here's case number 318, video and commentary applied to her, but only 1 teacher of this group does this case apply to. We need to remember about Mark, so we'll go ahead and add a case for Mark. He used, as an example, case 417. He also used video and commentary, but we just want to make sure this applies to Mark, and we'll go ahead and make sure he's checked here. You might want to use this feature if, as an example, you have your teachers or your students self-select their own case numbers, but you want to submit all of these cases within the same form. Okay, so each student is using a different case number. You can do so this way. Okay, so we'll go ahead and add Mark now. If we scroll back down to where we were, we should be able to see right here. Here's case 318, yes, yes, that went to Carly. 417, yes, yes, and it went to Mark. Looks good. Those are the 2 teachers who are at East Elementary High School, so we can go ahead and move to this final section. Okay, great. So now we are reminded of one last time of the parameters for the motivate, construct, apply, and follow-up cycles. Within each cycle, there has to be at least 1 in-person interaction, and here is a reminder that facilitation must be guided by a teacher leader who has the appropriate training to be effective with adult learners in the classroom. Okay, so now we're going to answer questions related to the MCAF complete cycle. First question, did use of Atlas during this time period include a motivate activity? It sure did. We're going to click yes, and then it will ask us, was this activity facilitated according to the definition above in this blue here? Yep, there was at least 1 in-person interaction with the facilitator, and the facilitator is indeed trained according to these parameters. So we'll go ahead and click yes to both of those. And if we wanted to, this is for both you and us to help understand the motivate activity a little bit more clearly. If you could enter a brief summary statement describing the motivate activity just as a placeholder. I'm going to type text there just so something is there. Okay. Construct. Did use of Atlas during this time period include a construct activity? Yeah, this time it did. Was this activity facilitated according to the parameters? Yes. Did part of it take place in person? Yes. And again, I'll just put as a placeholder some text into this box. Please fill it in describing how Atlas was used with the teachers selected, but I'm just going to use that as a placeholder for now. Okay. Apply. Did use of Atlas during this time period include an apply activity? Yes. Was this activity facilitated according to the parameters above? Yes, and part of it did take place in person. Again, I'll just place a text placeholder in there for now. Please describe the apply activity there. Okay, final question. Did use of Atlas during this time period include follow-up? Okay, well, all MCAF cycles will include follow-up. So here's a yes, and you can briefly describe the follow-up activity. As a reminder, each form you submit can just respond to one of these. So for example, if you are submitting a form just for Motivate, you can select here yes and click no for construct, apply, and follow up, and you can submit a different form for as each MCAF portion is completed. But in this case, we're reporting yes to all 4 sections. MCAF, we say yes, we completed those, and I'm just once more just add a brief placeholder there. Okay, finally, please capture any notes that you would like to make for your personal use in the future as a facilitator. So this is just a final text box that we added in case you wanted to add any final notes so that you know you have these notes in your as a reference to look back on in the future in case you need to look back on anything. So I use this as a demo, so I'm just gonna put that here as a demo. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and click Submit Now. Okay, great. So if I scroll down, I should be able to see where this was just submitted. So if you remember, I selected the begin date to be February 1st, end date February 19th, and I called this Feb Atlas session in the label. It was reported even though I am not Kelly Reese. My project director, Kelly Reese, let me use her login for the purpose of this demo. And we can see that it appears in this bottom row here. In order to finalize it, I need to go ahead and click Finalize here. If I have any final edits to make, I can go ahead and view the form again here, but I know I entered everything correctly, so I got to go ahead and click Finalize. Once I do that, I can scroll down, and once again, it will show in red here. Okay, so I just demonstrated how to add a new form. One change to the website that we recently made was this Copy Form button that you see here. This will allow you to copy the information that you provided on a form previously submitted, and for this purpose, it will reduce the burden on you for reporting repetitive information across forms. So let's go ahead and click Copy Form. You can see that the Finalize column that was displayed earlier has now changed to a Copy column, and you can select the form for which you want to copy. Let's go ahead and click the form that I just submitted, the Feb Atlas session. So I'll go ahead and click Copy here. So when I clicked Copy, a new form is started, and copies of the relevant data that you previously entered has now been filled in. You can see that East Elementary is still selected here, and 2 times or instances has already been filled in. So we know that this is the information that we just submitted. Okay, but we'll have to re-enter a few things. For example, this first form, this first entry, on what date did use of Atlas begin, that's blank. Of course, we didn't do 2 Atlas sessions on the same time, so we'll have to enter new dates. Let's go ahead and do this for March. Let's say March 1st, and it will end on March 11th. Okay, and we'll call this March Atlas session. Okay, the other information should be similar. When we get down to the components and the rubric, you can see that the team rubric is still selected. Since we don't see that auto-filled, I'm just going to click off it and click team rubric so we can select our new components. Okay, let's say we use the environment and lesson structure and pacing as components aligned to our frameworks for this one. Okay, as we move down, here we are in the add a case section. In our previous form, as you remember, Carly used case 318 and Mark used 417. Since we're in March now, actually Carly and Mark used new case numbers, so we're going to go ahead and click the X under the delete column so that we can enter new cases for them. Okay, we'll add a case. So this time, Carly and Mark again used different case numbers, so we just want to fill this in for Carly. This time Carly used case number 322. She again, yes, she used the video, and yes, she used the commentary. And if we click add, she should be able, her form will appear here. Okay, but we just added Carly, want to make sure we add Mark too. Mark used case 425. video was used, commentary was used, and we want to make sure Mark is just selected. So we'll just select him like that. And again, click Add. If we scroll down, we'll be able to see, okay, these cases have been added. It's case 322 and 425, which are the case numbers Mark and Carly used for this March session. Okay, we can keep moving down the form, and here everything else has remained filled in from our previous form that we copied. The motivate activity, we said yes. This will remain similar. Okay, it went according to the parameters, yes, and took place in person. And again, we could add a brief description of the motivate activity here. I've just filled in a placeholder. Same thing with construct. We did use a construct activity. Yes, it aligned with the parameters and took place in person, briefly filled in the text. Same with apply, yes, 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 and follow up, we indeed did that. Finally, we should capture any notes. I used this as a demo, we'll say. Okay, that's just notes for me, so I know what form this applies to, so I won't use this for data. So if I click submit, it should show up on our forms here. And as a reminder, it showed up here, and we have to click finalize to make sure it is fully submitted. Otherwise, if we think we made a mistake, we can go back and edit it. But once we hit finalize, that will become a view and a read only. And the only way you can get back to edit that is by contacting me, Sam Madison, to reopen this form for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and click finalize because I don't think I made any mistakes. And now it shows up in red as finalized. And that's how you use the copy form. And if you have any further questions about how to use the Atlas implementation reporting website, please don't hesitate to reach out to atlas.study@air.org. That's atlas.study@air.org. Thanks so much for watching.